Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We hope that you enjoy today's sermon by our pastoral staff at Christpoint Church. We also want you to know that if you have any questions, prayer requests, or need information on any of our ministry opportunities, you can email us at www.info@christpoint.church. We love you and we are praying that this will be the best year yet. Welcome home.
You'll take the time to sharpen those tools, listen, let God do the work. And we just do our part, but He wants to do this. And so, as we move into prayer and fasting, don't let it just be 21 days, let it be all, but make sure we understand that we're sharpening our tools. Whenever we're fasting and praying, it's sharpening, and we can do so much more as we keep going. So I want to talk just real quick, and we're going to wrap this up. Actually, it's not going to be too long. Another hour and a half, we're out of here. Man, you can't talk about prayer and fasting without jumping on Isaiah the 58th chapter, because it is very specific and covers all areas of the fast. In chapter 58, verse 1, starting in verse 1, Isaiah says, "Cry aloud, do not hold back. Lift up your voice like a trumpet. Declare to my people their transgression, to the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways, as if they were a nation that did righteousness and did not forsake the judgment of their God. They ask of me righteous judgments. They delight to draw near to God." Who's he speaking to? Us. Every single one of us in this room. Because that is exactly what happens whenever we try to walk a Christian life without fasting and prayer. When you start to do this, you realize exactly where I'm coming from in a fasting notion, where you see that just how much more God does in that fast. And so what happens is we're trying to walk out. He's chastising them because they're walking the walk without doing it completely. So in verse 3 he says, "Why have we fasted and see it not? And you see it not. Why have we humbled ourselves and you take no knowledge of it? Behold, in the day of your fast, you seek your own pleasure and approach all your workers." So we have a list, right? Whenever we fast, we're going to come together. We're going to pray for some certain things as a corporate, but you're going to have some things that you want to pray for. And if you fasted before and you pray for some things and you just feel like, "Lord, this is just not working out at all, really, the way that I planned it, the way I thought it should. This is not going that way." And that's, you got to understand that God has a list of things that He wants to do. You have a list of things that you want Him to do. And so when you pray, remember He said, when you pray. And He gets into the Lord's Prayer, and this is in Matthew chapter 6. When He gets into it and He's telling you how to pray, your will be done. Your will be done. So what fasting does is connects us to what His will is. And I promise you, as you begin to do it, and you're fasting, you're praying, you'll see He reveals some things to you that is His will more than necessarily your will. His ways are far above our ways, and His thoughts are far above our thoughts. And He don't do things the way that we think He should. But man, let me tell you something. When He does it, He answers. I know I can speak for me. He answered my prayer requests so much better than I ever pictured it going in my mind. Right, whenever I don't get in the way. Some of you have heard me tell the story before about I was praying actually, because here was whenever I was 20 years old. Our supper menu was basically hamburger helper, rice-a-roni the next night. Hamburger helper the next night, rice-a-roni the next night. Basically how that went. And so it was hamburger helper night with no hamburger. And my foodies out there completely understand the horrible dilemma that causes. And so I was actually in my face. I was just leaning back against the couch, kneeling in front of the couch with my back in the back of the couch. And I was praying for, so Lord, just some hamburger meat to go with these hamburger helpers. And I'm young, and I'm trying my faith, and and this, like, how's God going to work this out? And listen, God, what happens is while I'm praying, literally while I am praying with my face in the back of the couch, my neighbor knocks on the door and says, "Johnny, we killed this cow. I don't have enough room to put all this stuff, so whatever you can put in your freezer, you can have." And I'm praying for hamburger meat, and he's giving me steak. But the part of that story that I don't tell is the reality of when I got my face in the back of the couch, I've got my hands in the back of the couch, and when I'm praying for enough money to buy hamburger meat, I'm feeling for change. Pray, Lord, let there be enough change in here. But that was my mentality for real. As I'm praying for money here. Yes, listen, but what God does, when God moves, it's so much better for you than you'll ever imagine if you'll just let go and let him do it his way. And it's not all about what we do in our list and how the things go for us. But, man, if we'll just turn loose of that and let God handle it, I promise you, you can't outbless him. You can't outgive him. You can't outdo him. He will do it every single time. In verse 4, it says, behold, you fast only to quarrel and to fight and to hit with a wicked fist. Fasting like yours this day would not make your voice to be heard on high. This is such the fast that I choose a day for a person to humble himself? Is it to bow down his head like a reed and spread sackcloth and ashes around him? Will you call this a fast and a day acceptable unto the Lord? Let me ask you this, as we get into prayer and fasting, are the days that you are going to pray, that you say or you want to consecrate to prayer and fasting, are you going to really commit to that? And is it going to be a day that is worthy of what you promised the Lord that you would do? Because it never fails. Every time that God calls me to a fast, whether it's in this corporate or a private fast, the McRib comes back. Every single time. And so you laugh, but I ain't joking. That's hard. That's hard. Whenever we go into a fast, listen, he expects us to consecrate ourselves and to open up our hearts and truly seek his will, his protection, his guidance, the things that we're praying for, the true desire to grow closer to him in a full relationship. Because as we fast, we get closer to him, right? Because we're separating from the world. And we're praying. We're getting closer and closer and closer to him. And that's why he calls everyone to fast all of the time. And so verse 6. Is not this the fast that I choose? To loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the straps of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke. Anybody in here going through something that they just can't seem to get free from? It's like just whenever you feel the grips of the yoke loosen up and you feel like you're done, it just tightens right back down on you. I'm telling you, hang on. As we get into this 21 days of fast, true fasting that's coming up, listen, God has something for you. I promise you he does. And when God does it, he doesn't just set you free. He destroys the yoke. So it's not something that comes back on you. You can, you can really move forward as you begin to move forward with the Lord. And verse 7 says, is it not to share your bread with the hungry and bring the homeless poor into your house when you see the naked to cover him and not to hide yourself from your own flesh? Some say flesh and blood, depending on what version you're looking at. And so I'm like, hold up. I have been, what little bit I knew about fasting was not about giving. So you're telling me that there's more to fasting and praying than fasting and praying? Yes, there is. I'm telling you, as we get into this 21-day fast, in verse 7, is it not to share your bread with the hungry? Listen, let me tell you something. Not only are we going through these things, not only are we praying and we're giving up some things, he wants you to give. He wants you to give to the hungry, give to the needy, the ones that have. Listen, be intentional. As we get into this, if you want the full effect of your fast, find somebody to be intentional, to give to bless. And the end of that might be a little hard for some. It says not to hide yourself from your own flesh. Some versions say your own flesh and blood means your own family. Because we know that there are people, maybe even be in this room right now, that you have family that you don't even talk to, you don't want to talk to, you don't have anything about to do with or anything. Listen, during this 21-day fast, I want you to reach out. Because it's required as part of our fast. It's part of it. It comes with it. It's not just about praying and fasting. There are other works to be done. If you want the full effect, then work some stuff out. Verse 8. Then shall your light break forth like the dawn. Man, does anybody in here need some clear direction from the Lord about what your next step should be? You know what? When he says it breaks forth like the dawn, let me talk to my deer hunters here. When you're out there, You're sitting in the woods and it's dark. And it's just before dawn. And you see something out in the woods. Now, you see this as an object. You're looking out, you see it. Is that a deer? You stare at it, man. You watching the whole time, waiting for that sun to come up just enough to see if that's a deer and hope it's still there, because it's gone, boy, if it's there. But then whenever the light actually does, the dawn hits, then all of a sudden that's a stump. And you've been sitting there all morning looking at this stump, because that's exactly what we do. It's exactly what we do whenever we don't wait for God to light that path. You can shoot that stump all you want. Doing no good. But if you want to be effective in what you're doing, if you want to be effective in ministry, if you want to be effective for the Lord, part of that is going to be waiting for Him to light that path. But as we fast and pray, man, He wants to show you so many things. If you'll just give up some stuff, if you'll just give up a few things, man, so He can spend some time with you, oh, man, you just don't even know. And healing shall spring up speedily. Anybody going to be believing for a healing in your body? Anybody? Anyone? Let me tell you something. I'll never do this. I'm already started. A couple weeks ago, I began to study this. I began to look at it. And what most people don't know is I've taken medication for my back for about 25 years. And it had gotten to the point where now it's so bad that it's going to destroy my liver if I don't stop taking it, or I can take something stronger. And I was just praying about it. I said, Lord, that's like, I would just be, if I could just run with my grandkids. Because I don't know if you understand, but whenever you're hurting like that, for me, if I just trip over a carpet and go to catch myself, just that step to catch myself, it feel like somebody's sticking an ice pick in my spine. And so He began to deal with me about trusting Him. And I can trust Him to heal y'all all day long. I can believe for you. If you want me to pray for you, listen, I've got faith that He'll heal anybody in this room. But my struggle was, will He do it for me? And so He said, I just need you to trust me, and I need you to fast this way. He literally gave me a specific fast. And I want you to know, man, that first week, anybody ever stop taking pain meds? You know, that first week, man, that's why you don't stop taking pain meds. Because that body just hurts and hurts and hurts. And like I literally, if somebody would talk to me, I would have to turn this way to talk to them and turn this way to talk to them. But I'm telling you today, I can turn. We'll keep my feet still and see me with no pain. It's taking longer for my scar tissue to break loose so I can move better than it is for the healing. You don't have to wait for your 21 days. I'm telling you, man, I stand right. 25 years? I don't think you understand. 25 years bound by a pill pack that I would carry with me all the time. Because you never know when you're just going to hurt that much more. 25 years. In a fast. In a prayer. And change it immediately. I'm here to tell you today, God wants to heal you. Your issue is, if you're just like me, you believe God will heal for anybody else. You have a problem believing that He'll do it for you. And so when you fast and you pray, understand that He desires to do that for you if you'll consecrate to Him. Oh, my goodness. Pastor Hannah, y'all come on. Your righteousness shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. So as soon as you begin to fast, know that the devil's not about to give up on you. He's not about to. He's not about to. He's not about to. He's coming after you. When you begin to fast and pray, He's coming after you. God says, I'm going in before you. I'll come in behind you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Just know that I'm with you. So listen, you don't have to worry about what anybody else says, what anybody else does. You go get yours. I'm just telling you, go get yours. Verse 9 says, then you should call and the Lord will answer. Are you at a place right now where you're so far removed from God, and no matter how hard or how loud your heart cries, you just feel like He can't hear you? You shall cry, and He'll say, hey, girl. If you take away the yoke from the midst and the pointing of the finger and speaking wickedness, if, and here it comes again, you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then shall your light raise in the darkness and your gloom be as noonday. No matter how dark your surroundings are right now, there are no shadows in a new day sun. It's straight up. Everything is lit up. There are no shadows for anything to hide. That's what happens whenever we fast and pray. And the Lord will guide you continually. That means these blessings don't even stop at the end of 21 days. They just keep right on going, right on into 2022. And satisfy your desire in scorched places. Man, is there a fire shut up in your bones? The scorched places. That desire. Is there a desire that God has put in your heart that you just can't run away from, but you've been trying? Make your bones strong. You ever see these old barns that they're leaning, probably 100 years old, and they've been through some storms. They've been through some wind. They've had some damage. They've been lived in. They've been beat on. Probably ran into a few times. Somebody tried to run them over even. They lean, but they just won't fall. They say those have strong bones. We as Christians, a lot of times, man, when that storm hits and we're just blown everywhere, we don't have the strength to stand. Fasting and praying will give you the strength to stand and wherever you're at. And you shall be like the watered garden, like a spring of water, whose waters do not fail. You will become a source of spiritual nutrients for so many people. Everyone that you encounter, the Holy Spirit can give you things for them. There's a hurting world everywhere. He wants so bad to reach out to them, but how shall they hear without a preacher? How are they going to know if we don't tell them? And how are we going to tell them if we don't even know what to tell them? Prayer and fasting. A watered garden, a spring whose waters do not fail. That means no man can shut it off. And your ancient ruins shall be rebuilt. You shall raise up the foundations of many generations. The things that you thought were done and buried and gone forever and never going to happen again, never going to see again, never going to do again, God will raise those things up. The gifts and the callings of God are without repentance, my friends. Not only your ruins, but the foundations of many generations. That means the work my mama put in, I get to build on that. The work my mama's mama put in, I get to build on that. The work my praying daddy put in, I get to build on that. If you've not had the luxury, really, of praying parents, you can be the first. And your children can build on the foundation that you set if you're willing to consecrate yourself. You should be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of streets to dwell in. When the evil comes in like a flood and breaches the dam, you will be the one who's able to stand in the gap. That others just don't have the strength to withstand. You can do that for them. You can be that for them. You'll be a repairer of the streets. You get to make the road a little smoother for the ones coming behind you. If you turn back your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your own pleasure, on my holy day, and call the Sabbath the delight, and the holy day of the Lord honorable, if you honor it, not going your own ways or seeking your own pleasure or talking idly. Simply meaning, if you'll just consecrate yourself to me during our 21 days of prayer and fasting, if you'll take it serious, if you will just sacrifice, listen, if you're new to it, something small. It's okay. Listen, whatsoever you sow, you're going to reap. Wherever you start, wherever you're at, start, do something. Be committed to whatever you fast. Then you shall take delight in the Lord, and he will make you ride on the heights of the earth. I'm telling you, my friends, when you get done with a 21-day fast and you committed yourself, I promise you he's going to meet you. And not only is he going to meet you, but when you get to take the ride in heights of the earth, he'll take you places you've never dreamed you could be. Places you never even knew existed, and it may even just create some new desires to take you places that he wants you to go. I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob, your father. I'll give you everything I promised Israel. For the mouth of the Lord is spoken. Now, you know I love you, right? So as we begin our 21 days, we're going to start next week, actually. And you begin to pray and think about the things that you're believing the Lord for. I know they didn't have social media whenever they fasted, and if God's calling you to fast, that by all means do that. But I want to challenge you, because if you don't have Facebook, you can keep your mind busy with something else. I promise you, you can scroll Facebook for 10 hours, but when your stomach starts to growl, it's going to pay attention. It's going to get your attention. It's sacrificing your body. Listen, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with fasting Facebook. But I want to talk to some people that have some bigger issues than a Facebook fix. Because whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. Whatever level you commit to in this fast is what you can expect. And so as we begin to move forward, I want you to seriously pray about what to fast. There's so many different ways. There's a total fast where you can do no food and no water. If you're going to do something like that, then you probably should see a doctor before you do that. There's the Daniel fast, which is almost like, no desirable foods. And so that would be vegetables for me. You probably can't tell by looking at me, but that's the truth. There's a partial fast. There's fasting from sun up to sundown. There's so much that you can do. But listen, here's what I want you to do, is to pray about it and to let the Lord speak to you about what you should fast, because everyone in here should be a part of this fast. Listen, when the children of Israel called a corporate fast, every single person committed to the fast. And it's going to take unity to get the devils off the places that we got around here. To reach the world, it's right on the other side of those doors. It's going to take a lot. So if this is your first time, you're new to fasting, and Facebook is the way you want to go do it, please do it. If that's a hindrance for you, by all means do it. But please don't let it be a cop-out to a real fast. Because God's calling us to fast for a reason. It's to get closer to Him. It's to sharpen our tools. To get those axes razor sharp. So when we do go to work, it cuts right through. Because He's prepared us before we got there. And the only way that He's going to prepare us before we get there is if you and I will consecrate ourselves in this fast moving forward. Keep that commitment. And listen, let's be realistic. If it's something small, just please do that. Whatever it is, if it's your favorite food for 21 days, please do it and stick to it. God will honor that. I promise you, He will honor it. I promise you this, He will meet you. We're going to have another service at the end of this fast, and I'm so looking forward to the testimonies that are going to come out of this fast, because I believe the people in this house right now are not people that are here to play church. I believe everyone in this house right now realizes there's a really serious need for us to be committed and to be a true vessel of God.
Hey, thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for spending some time with us in service at Christpoint Church. And just wanting you to know that we love you guys, and you are an important part of Christpoint Church. If you're disconnected or in another state, or you want more updates, please visit us on our website. You can email us at info@christpoint.church. And if you want to know how to give, we have a text to give. You can see it flashing right now. Also, you can give on the app. A lot of people are asking about that. So we just want you to know that you are a vital and important part of Christpoint Church. Now, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spending some time with us online and on TV. We are real people, living real lives, serving a real God. Welcome home.